Welcome to 2 Cents We See Scary Movies, the podcast where we dive into horror films one theme at a time. Each month we pick a theme and every movie we review fits within that theme, sometimes perfectly and sometimes, well, we do our best. I'm Talon, the one who would sleep under the bed just to make the monster uncomfortable for once. And my co-host is Dan, who thinks home invaders should at least have the decency to call ahead. Actually, wait, make that a text and don't you dare fucking knock. This week we're doing something a little different. Since June has 5 Tuesdays, we're dropping a bonus episode and giving you a sneak peek at our August theme, Home is Where the Horror Is. We're starting early with a short horror film called Home Invasion, written and directed by Liam Banks. What begins as a simple break-in turns into something much darker and way more dangerous. Let's get into it. All right, so our short opens with some audio from the movie Night of the Living Dead. We see a dark entryway of a house and a staircase with light coming from another room where someone is presumably watching that movie. As the camera goes down to the hall, the short briefly shows a clip from Night of the Living Dead, then pans to a lit jack-o'-lantern suggesting it's Halloween, and then to a girl who is asleep on the couch. Then suddenly you hear a loud bang and it startles the girl awake. It sounds like someone is turning the doorknob, trying to get inside. Through the windows, you can see flashlights and shadowy figures appearing outside. Then you hear what sounds like glass breaking. Although I don't think glass was breaking at that time, but it sounded like
No.
glass broke. And so
Yeah.
I was a little confused at that moment. I was like, oh, okay, they're in. And then I was like, oh, no, they're not in. Then the two men are outside talking. One says, stay on me. The other says, wait. They're loud. It's not like they're trying to be quiet at all. And it sounds like they're about to break in. And then the girl, you see her, she sits up, she's looking frightened. The two masked men haven't quite broken in yet, I don't think, but one says, "Can't we just smash it?" The girl stands up, clearly scared. Moments later, you hear a loud crash. Now you definitely know it's broken glass. And I think they're coming in through a window, maybe?
Yeah.
Because there's a thin curtain that they sweep to the side as they step through apparently a large window because they weren't crawling through the window.
Yeah,
They're
it was
basically stepping through it.
it was either a window or like a glass door.
Yeah, I guess it could be like a sliding glass door. Although I think that would be, or maybe a regular door. I don't think you'd have a curtain in front of it. Maybe. I don't know. This was British. So they might. I don't
Yeah,
know what
I
they do over
mean,
there.
yeah, we don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so once they're inside, one of the men, Dan, says, "Why is the TV
What?
on?" Yeah. He says, "Why is the TV on?" Ryan responds, "They probably left it on so it looks like someone's home." Then Dan points out the jack-o'-lantern, which has candles in it that are lit, and he's like, "What about that?"
Yeah, and I want to add the jack-o'-lantern looks a lot like the Halloween jack-o'-lantern.
Oh, yeah, it did.
Because I noticed that there's a couple homages to other movies, and that was one of them I picked up. It was the cut was almost exactly like how they did in 1978 Halloween.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, but yeah, now that you're saying it. So he says, he's pointing at the jack-o'-lantern. I was like, what about that? Ryan replies, "Stop dicking around. It's Halloween. We've got a job to do." So then Dan walks over to the remote control, turns the TV off. Ryan says the safe is upstairs and reminds Dan to make it look random. He says, take some extra things, the usual drill. The way he said this, and then there's a couple other things later, he says, this felt like it was an inside job of some sort. Either they knew the homeowner or they knew someone who maybe knew the homeowner who knew
Yeah.
what was in the house. But they knew exactly where to go, what they were looking for. And of course, they wanted to look like it was more than just that being stolen. Okay, this was a little confusing because I figured the way Ryan said that, I thought he was going to go upstairs and go to the safe while Dan stayed downstairs and made a mess and took other things. But Dan goes through some door, and at first I thought, well, maybe that door takes you upstairs. And then you see he's gone from this area, the main area of the house, and you see Dan, and he's standing there, and he sees a framed photo on the wall, and he takes his flashlight and he smashes it into the photo, and the photo drops and breaks and glass is all over the floor. And he's kind of rummaging around. But when this happens, we see a point of view from the girl who is now in a closet, and she has a closet door slightly open. You can see out the closet door from her point of view. And when he smashes that photo and it drops and breaks and stuff, she gasps a little and then covers her mouth. Then we see Dan move to another room. So he's no longer in that area. He's gone into another room. So she walks out of the closet. But when she opens the door, she opens it really slowly and it creaks so loudly and squeaks so loudly that I feel like if she had just opened it really fast, it wouldn't have creaked
been
so
so
loud.
loud. Yeah.
Right. But surprisingly, no one heard it.
That's the crazy thing that we keep coming across. That's another trope that we keep coming across, is that everybody's like so friggin' loud, but nobody hears it.
Right. Like it was really loud.
But the second you hear like a noise, like it's like, oh my God, what's that?
So then she closes the door just as slowly and it creaks just as loudly. I'm like, oh my God, with the door. Good Lord. Because the guy's just like in the next room. It's not like he went far, far away. I don't know how he didn't hear it. And she closes the door. She starts walking. And when she does, of course, there's all the glass on the floor from the picture that fell. And she steps on a piece of the glass and it goes into her foot. Of course, when this happens, she gives out a slight shriek, but then presses herself up against the wall. When she presses herself against the wall, her arm is jutting out from the corner where the wall and the walls meet. I don't know how it wasn't seen, but Ryan is like, Danny, is that you? And he comes out of the door, by the way, where he was. And I was like, wait, why is he right there? Shouldn't he be upstairs? Like, what's he doing? So Ryan comes out. He's like, Danny, is that you? And he's got his flashlight on. And you can see from his point of view where he's shining the flashlight, this girl's arm sticking out from the wall. I don't know how he didn't see it. Or he just thought that was Danny for some reason. And Danny had changed clothes because they were all in black. Danny just put a sweater.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like kids or like people at work, they go in, hey, can you look for this? Yeah. You go in, I can't find it. And then you go in and you look straight ahead. It's like, oh, it's right here.
Yeah. Kids are notorious for that shit.
So maybe that's what Ryan is doing. It's like, oh, I can't see that. But if Danny came through, he'd be like, what the hell? She's right there.
Right. You don't see this. So Brian, of course, keeps saying, Danny, is that you? Danny, is that you? He says it a few times. And finally, Dan walks in from where he was and asks what's going on. Okay, so both these men are wearing white masks. And the masks kind of remind me of like comedy, tragedy masks, theater masks. But they're all white. And they lift them up. And they have full head, like bank robber knit masks on or whatever, where it's a big oval where their eyes are, and they pull it down from their mouths. So now their faces are revealed. Not that it matters, but they are.
Right.
So they're talking. Ryan says he thought he heard something, but then when they checked again, that girl was gone. Because from our point of view as the viewer, and we see them talking where they are, the girl was right around the corner against the wall. She is now not there. She's gone. So apparently she snuck up the stairs because the stairs are right where she was hiding. So she went upstairs via the staircase that was right there. So then she runs into what seems to be a bedroom, then into the bathroom that's in that bedroom. And when she goes into the bathroom, she leaves a bloody handprint on the door. I don't know if she grabbed her foot at some point. Like, I'm not sure where that blood came from.
Did she pull the glass out?
No.
Before that or after?
After. So I was like, well, I don't know why her foot's all bloody. Because when she stepped on it, I don't know, did she grab her foot maybe? Maybe she grabbed her foot. I just missed it.
I think so, yeah.
As a reactive thing, but I didn't see that part. Or I don't remember that part. So she leaves a bloody handprint on the bathroom door, but she closes the door, goes into the shower. She's looking at her foot. She's inspecting the glass shard, and then she pulls it out. She screams relatively decently, and she yells out, fuck. Again, no one hears her. Amazing.
Right.
So then you see where Dan and Ryan start going upstairs because now they're going to go ahead and get the safe. And Ryan tells Dan to check the other rooms. Like they've already checked, maybe the ones downstairs. I don't know. It was weird the way he said it. But he tells Dan to check the rooms. After a few checks, they eliminate all these other rooms. They go to the master bedroom, which happens to be the room that this girl was in.
Well, and checking all the rooms doesn't make sense considering that they were supposed to just like be in and out.
Yeah. Well, the way he said it though was check the other rooms. Like they'd
Yeah.
already been in one, but they were just standing in
Right.
the hallway. Unless he meant
Right.
the other unless he meant the other rooms and he's including the rooms downstairs, but Dan didn't really check the rooms downstairs. He was just making a mess to make it look like
Right.
there was a robbery. I don't know. They go into the master bedroom, and Ryan says, Andy says it should be in the wardrobe. So I don't know if Andy owns the house or if Andy is just someone, again, who's been in that house and knows shit about it. They find the safe. It's a tiny little safe, itty bitty. They could have just picked it up and walked out, done with it. Ryan asks Dan for the combo, which Dan has written on his arm. He has part of it covered with his sleeve. And when he pulls his sleeve up, I don't know if that's what smudges it, but the last number is smudged and he doesn't know if it's a 1 or a 7. So Ryan calls him an idiot. And then as he's turning around, he notices the bloody print on the bathroom door. Both men cover their faces up again. And Ryan says, we might not be the only ones here. So Ryan pulls out a gun. Dan asks, why did you bring a gun? So then he walks over to the bathroom door, stands there for a second, grabs the handle and pulls it open real fast, busts in the bathroom and finds the girl. He yells at her to get up, come on, get out. Then he goes in. You can't really see him, but you can hear that there's a struggle. And he says, quit struggling. He pulls her out and throws her on the bed. Dan asks, who the fuck is she? Like Ryan knows. So Ryan tells him to forget it and find something to tie her up. So then Dan runs downstairs and opens the closet door where the girl had been hiding. And he's startled and yells out, oh, like, but in a more of a frightened kind of oh than what I just did. Ryan calls out, Danny. Danny lifts his mask to see better and he looks terrified and he says, oh my God, there's a fucking body. The closet is blood soaked. There is a dead body in there. It's pale, its eyes are wide open, its face looks like it's half eaten. And
Blood
there's like,
everywhere.
yeah, and fresh blood is still pouring out of his wounds. So I don't know how soon this happened. Maybe she just had a snack while she was waiting for them to go through the kitchen. I don't rummage
Yeah,
through everything.
or maybe it was just before she watched the movie.
Well, right. Well, that's what I figured. Yeah.
Had a snack and then took a shower, watched the movie.
Right. So upstairs, Ryan is in the bathroom, in the bedroom. And of course, he's listening to Danny because Danny's saying, like, oh, there's a body. And Ryan's like, Danny. And as you're looking at Ryan in the bedroom, you can hear a hissing, rattling sound. It actually had like a kind of a rattlesnake sound to it with the kind of sound. And you see something blurry moving behind him in the background. Then there's this loud screech. Dan, who's downstairs, yells, Ryan. Dan heads upstairs and sees blood dripping from the upstairs railing. Ryan is lying on the floor in the hallway and he's gurgling blood from his neck. Dan runs to him, tries to stop the bleeding. He's put his hands on his neck and, but it's just blood's gushing out everywhere. Ryan manages to say the girl right before he dies. So now Dan's kind of in shock. He grabs Ryan's gun. He's crying and pleading with Ryan. He's like, please, Ryan, please. But Ryan's obviously dead. There's no hope there.
And like, that's going to stop him. Please don't.
Right. Oh, okay. He said, please.
Okay, I'll get up.
Yeah, just joking. So Dan sits back up against the wall of the hallway and, he's got his hands down. He obviously, even though he picked up the gun from Ryan, he obviously set it back down when he sat down. And the show's Ryan and blood is just pooling beneath his head. And so Dan's sitting there looking like, of course he's in shock. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? Get the fuck out of there. Like, why are you waiting? What are you doing? Get out.
Like, leave.
Like, why is this so hard? So Dan hears a creak from the bedroom. So he grabs the gun and the flashlight and goes to investigate. Why? No one knows. Who cares? Who cares about the girl? Who cares if there's somebody else in there with the girl? Who cares? Get the fuck out of the house. So he goes inside the room. He hears snarling, sees flashes, hears movement, but he can't locate. He can't see anything. He hears all this stuff. He knows there's something happening, but he can't see whatever it is that's causing all of this noise and this blurriness that he sees. Because there's like, whatever it is moving kind of quickly. So he looks behind him, nothing. But then we see him from our point of view. We see that there is something weird looking behind him. Because when he looks one way, we can see behind him the other way. And that's where we see this weird thing behind him. But then we see like a shot from above him. And it's a point of view shot. So now whatever this is somewhere above him. and they're making more strange noises. There's a lot of creaking and snarling. Then he turns around again and he's got his flashlight and he's slowly going up the wall. And as he's going up the wall, he sees in the corner of the wall that she's clinging to the wall near the ceiling.
Yeah, and that's when I would leave.
Yeah.
I mean, if I haven't left already, that's when I would leave.
That's definitely when you leave. Like, well, you definitely when you leave is before, actually.
Right.
You
Well, that's what I'm saying.
really leave now, yeah.
If I hadn't left yet, this is the moment where that would be okay. I gotta go.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So he says, "What are you? Does it matter?"
I wouldn't care. No, I don't care.
Her face is all distorted. Her mouth's wide open. She's got sharp teeth. I'm guessing, is possibly a vampire, maybe.
A vampire type creature, yes.
Yeah. So she screeches real loud. Dan starts shooting, but misses every shot. He thinks because there's a whole bunch of commotion because she's moving really fast, and he thinks that she went out into the hallway, I guess, because he shines his light that way and he's looking out the hallway. But nope, she's behind him. She screeches, grabs him. More shots go off that are missed. She grabs his arm and rips it off, I think at the elbow.
Yeah.
And then he looks down, he sees the damage, and then he sees his arm laying on the ground, on the floor, and he starts to panic, rightfully so. Then she appears on the other side of him. Her mouth is wide open. She lunges in at him and bites into his neck. And then it's all like crazy shots. And then it changes completely. You see her walking down the stairs. She's breathing real heavy. Blood's dripping down her face, her neck, her shirt. She's a bloody mess, literally and figuratively. She sits briefly at the bottom of the steps, and then you can hear noises outside because there's kids out there because it's Halloween and they're trick-or-treating. And so you hear all this commotion outside of kids running around. And then you see this creepy, shadowy hand that goes across the wall as the camera pans to the door. So then she gets up, she walks outside. She's still covered in blood. Kids are trick-or-treating. And of course, no one's questioning the state she's in because it's Halloween.
Right.
So it's a perfect disguise. She goes out. Kids are saying Happy Halloween. Adults are looking at her. Happy Halloween. She's looking around confused, like she doesn't know what's going on. She sniffs the air really hard, like a dog.
Yep.
And then she growls and walks off. And the end. So the cast is Chloe Crump, Matt Barker, and Chris Milross, by the way. So what are your thoughts?
It was an interesting short story. Definitely didn't go the way I was expecting because I was thinking more like when Danny found the other body, I thought that was going to be more of like her caretaking the vampire or the creature.
Oh.
You know, so like she was just like the caretaker or the familiar of the vampire or whatever it was.
Right.
So that's more of what I was thinking. So it was a little bit of a surprise. I mean, it wasn't like I mean, it's not like a major surprise, but you know, considering I was thinking going one way and it went the other, that was kind of cool. Much like you in the beginning, I thought it was like in Britain, but then they pulled the gun out. It's like, oh yeah, it's America.
Yeah. They're just some Brits in America.
Right. And the masks, you know, I got the Motley Crue sort of feel to it.
That's true. Yeah, I did have that too.
But I also kind of felt like they had like inspiration from Art the Clown from Terrifier. Like not exactly, you know, but it just kind of felt like, you know, it was there like a little bit. I don't know.
Right.
I could just be reading into it more than I need to be. I don't know. It wasn't bad. You know, I'd like to see what they could do if it was like a full length movie.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for a short, I mean, you can only, I guess, you know, to put all of that into a short wasn't bad. Yeah.
And I think the writing could use some work, you know, because there were some things that just didn't make sense or it didn't line up.
Right.
But I don't know. For a short movie, I'd give it like a 7 cents.
Okay. Yeah. Things that didn't line up for me were like, I didn't understand why Ryan was just in that one room, like just sitting there waiting for something to happen, I guess. So he could come out, because I don't know why he didn't just go upstairs and look for the safe. I do wish there were more because I was most curious about who owned the house or who told them about the house, what was in the safe. That's what I want to know. Like,
Yeah,
what's in the safe?
give
Yeah.
like a small background to it, like even if it's just through like a small conversation.
Right. Yeah. Because curiosity kills me. Like, I'm one of those people, and I think I may have talked about this before, but I hate not knowing what's behind a closed door. So I will open the door or at least make an attempt to open a door. Even if I know that door is probably locked, I will still try to open it. Like, I'll just try it just in case. And then I'm like, oh, because that actually has helped. That actually came in handy once. We stayed at this huge freaking resort up in the Catskills once, but it was empty. And it was like The Shining. I could have swore. Have I told that story?
I don't believe so.
I just told a lot. I just felt like I've told you. Anyway, so it was this huge fucking resort, and it felt like The Shining. There was nobody in it but us, basically. It was empty, but it was up in the Catskills, and up in the Catskills, back in the day, it was a very popular place to go for
Mhm.
comedians and stuff like that, and they had the big dinner like you would imagine back in, like, the '60s and stuff when they'd all be sitting around at their little tables and watching something up on a stage. So, me and I was married at the time, and my husband and his sister, we were walking around this hotel, and we get down to where there's a door that looks like it goes into, one of these areas. So I tried it, thinking it was gonna be locked, and it wasn't, and it took us into this huge kitchen. So we go in, I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's go in here." So and they're like, I don't think we can go in there." I was like, "Who's gonna stop us? There's no one here." So we go in, I look around, I go out through another door, and that took us out to the theater area where all the seating was. Of course, nobody was there. But anyway, we walked all around, and I just tried all the doors, and most of them were unlocked except for the hotel room doors. But those I didn't care about because I know what those look like because I was in one.
Right.
So, but anyway, we just walked all around. We ended up making our way to the bar. Now, the bar, which is at the front of the resort, that had people in it, and it was a bunch of old people that were bussed in to play Keno.
Okay.
So that's where the only life was in this entire humongous resort. It was called the Friar Tuck Inn, which is now you can actually, it's no longer open. It's kind of fallen apart. And I watched a video not that long ago that showed it where it's now kind of defunct, but
Yeah.
it was cool back in the day. And it was funny because the first night we were there, we stayed it was me and my husband and the kids were young. And we used to watch, when they were little, we used to watch VeggieTales all the time. But on the first night that we were there, we went to me and my husband went to see the Blair Witch Project. And at the time, because of the way the Blair Witch Project was put out there,
Yeah.
it seemed real.
Right.
And so we went to see that. And then we come back to the hotel, and I was like, hmm. I was a little disturbed. So I'm in the bathroom, and I have the door open as I'm washing my face and doing whatever. And at one point I look out into the hotel, the room we're in, and I see Brian. He's standing in the corner, facing the corner. And I was like, "Stop doing that, you motherfucker." And then we get into bed. Now we're sharing a room with the kids too. So he and I get in the bed, and then the kids are in the another bed, and they're already asleep. And I'm laying there, and I was like laying there on my back, stiff, straight, and I was singing "God is Bigger Than the Boogeyman" to myself, which is a VeggieTales song. Until
Oh
I fell
god.
asleep singing it.
Until you fell asleep. Okay. I mean, self-soothing is good.
Right. Why did I even get into all that? I forgot. Oh, the safe.
Yeah, the safe. You don't like closed doors.
Right. I'm just curiosity kills me. I have to look behind doors if I can. So I really want to know what was inside that safe. And the fact that we didn't know what was in the safe or how they knew all this stuff about the house, I really wish they had somehow gotten that in there so that I would know so that I can sleep at night. So I guess now I won't be able to till I
So
find
did
out
you
what
have a hard time with Pulp Fiction and Marcel's suitcase?
Oh, God. Yeah, that drove me crazy, and of course, it never really came out what was in there. People have speculated that it was his soul or,
You're right.
whatever. So, but yeah, I would have loved to have known it was in that case. But, yeah, but for a short, I'd say I would give it like I was thinking like 6.5, 7. For a short, I think it was pretty good. It wasn't bad. It was there was some chaos there. The chaotic scenes, like, I get it, And maybe they made it chaotic because of, I don't know, maybe they were worried about whether the makeup looked good or not. I don't know. I wish it weren't so chaotic in some spots 'cause so you could see it more or see it better.
Yeah.
Because there were some spots where you could see it really well, but it was quick, it was fleeting, and it just but, and I didn't quite understand her response to everything when she went outside, because when she was in the house falling, she was asleep on the couch and she woke up, she seemed normal. Like, she seemed like a normal person, a normal girl. She had, that scared affect to her. Her response to people breaking into the house were normal. But after the thing happened and she went outside, she almost seemed animalistic. And I don't know if it's just because that's how it is after you eat somebody.
I was going to say, it could be the afterglow.
Yeah. Because she seemed confused, like she didn't understand,
Right.
And although I realized that it was also the whole setup for the movie, when they first came in, what was the point of her being afraid? Because she obviously could take them,
Right.
like right then and there when they walked in. But
And I
of
mean,
course,
because there's not a lot given to us on it, maybe it's a thing that she's not really fully aware of that she does.
oh, maybe that's true.
And she becomes animalistic and she just doesn't really have much of a recollection of what's going on.
Oh, yeah,
Because
yeah.
she probably also could have forgotten, because of that, could have forgotten that it was Halloween. And so she
Right.
was probably surprised that, hey, I'm actually blending in.
Kind of like a werewolf kind of thing.
Right.
Because don't werewolves kind of not really realize like what's going on? At least some of the werewolf movies I've seen, they're like old ones, old werewolf movies. Like they change and they don't realize what they did when they were werewolves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the only one that I've ever seen that that knew was Silver Bullet. The priest knew.
Oh.
He knew what he was doing.
When you said new, I thought you meant new as in NEW, and I'm like, Silver Bullet? That's the
Nope.
most recent.
Nope. KNEW.
The most recent new werewolf movie you've ever seen. Is Silver Bullet? What? Well, I also think in Teen Wolf, he was aware. If you want to count that as a werewolf movie.
Not really. I mean, that was more of a comedy. I mean, if I mean,
Was Michael
I'm talking
Jackson
the
aware?
core stuff.
You think Michael Jackson was aware in Thriller?
Oh, he was aware of a lot of things.
All right. Well, I'm glad Silver Bullet wasn't the newest werewolf.
But have you seen that new werewolf movie, American Werewolf in London? It came out in like 1984. The new one.
There is a new werewolf movie out though. It just came out this year. I can't remember the name of it, and I wanted to see it, but I haven't seen it yet.
I think it's just simply called Wolf.
Well, yeah, maybe it is. What was the one with Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer?
Oh, I haven't seen that in forever.
Is that also Wolf? And I can't remember if he was aware or not. It's been a long time. I saw a movie one time, and it was a long time ago. That's the newest one I've seen.
That one was also called Wolf.
Okay, I thought so.
So maybe Wolf is a remake of Wolf. Maybe.
I have to look at that because I forgot about it. I remember seeing all the trailers for it, and I was like, oh, I'd like to see that. Just out of curiosity. Like, I mean, because it's one of those things, kind of like shark movies. I have this desire to watch shark movies, even though it's like, what more can a shark do? Like,
right.
What more could happen? So even though I'm like, what more can you do with a werewolf story? I still kind of want to watch it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't remember the name of it.
Well, that's the thing, like with vampire movies and zombie movies, like I'm always looking for something that's just a little bit different because the same story's been told over and over and over again.
Right.
So like if there's something that comes out that has like a unique take to it or something that's just a little bit different, like I gravitate towards those. Whether they're good or not, I gravitate towards them because I just want something different from the genre.
Right. Yeah. I think that's probably why I keep watching them, even though they always end up kind of being the same or having the same kind of stuff. Because it is like, what can you do? It's not like it's just like shark movies. It's not like you're going to have a shark driving a train or, doing something great, working at a corporate office.
You do have sharks and tornadoes.
That's true.
And there's 5 of those movies. So someone somewhere wrote the script. Someone else said that's a great idea. And there's a group of people that said, let's make it.
Right. Like
5 times.
5 times. The first time, okay. Like, that's different. That's new. Cheesy, but still fun in its way.
Right.
But what else? What are you doing after that? Like, although there was one, I watched it, I think it was like 2 years ago, maybe 3, and it wasn't a shark. What the fuck was it? But Steve Guttenberg was in it.
What was that movie? I know what you're talking about.
But there was a cameo and it was hilarious. It was an hilarious part of that movie. There was a cameo with what's his name from Sharknado, and they both happened to run each other on the street. And they're like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Oh, I can't help out. I'm dealing with sharks and or whatever." But he referenced his own movie, and it was funny.
Right.
What the fuck was that? It was not tarantulas. It's tarantulas on the brain today. God, what the fuck was that?
The one movie that I can find that is Steve Guttenberg came out in 2015 called Lava Lantula.
Oh yeah. God, it was in 2015.
Yeah.
How did I only just find it? Yeah, but it is Lava Lantula. So it was a tarantula. All right. So do we have anything else?
We can put a sock on it.
All right. Sock applied. If this short taught us anything, it's that sometimes you're not alone in the house, and sometimes they're not either. We'll be continuing the home horror vibes all through August with our theme, Home is Where the Horror Is. First up, The Rental. It's got a remote beach house, hidden cameras, and enough awkward couple tension to make murder feel like the polite option. Catch it on Shudder or AMC Plus, and join us next week when everything goes downhill faster than the weekend getaway. Be scared, be prepared, and don't get caught in the dark.